Downtown, I got that heat, let's go.
Hey, YouTubers out there, what is up, SMT Nation? Yeah! We got the SMT podcast, July 9th, 2020, 5:04 p.m. in the Eastern Standard Time. Regardless of where you're watching this from, what time it is where you are, whatever you're doing, it's a pleasure to have you. Big shout out to those watching this in the live. Big shout out to those watching this in the replay. Regardless of how you are watching it, it is a pleasure to have you. We got a big time show for you guys today. You know how the SMT Nation brings it. We're going to be talking standalone 5G. It's getting fast tracked. I think we're going to be seeing it sooner rather than later. We'll be seeing it from certain carriers sooner than others. But it's getting fast-tracked. We're going to be seeing it very soon, and I've got some updates on that. We're also going to talk a little bit about CBRS and actually specifically even Verizon's usage of CBRS. We'll also talk about Verizon's IEB solution, locations where they don't have native fiber. They will be utilizing their millimeter wave holdings for that. I'll talk about why Verizon went in so big on millimeter wave. And it's not just directly device connection. Like, it's not just about you holding a phone with millimeter wave and connecting to a node. It's actually more intricate than that. And a lot of people have downplayed millimeter wave. I'm here to tell you, you do not downplay effective communications hardware and spectrum and how valuable it is. There's a reason why all carriers are spending tens of billions of dollars on millimeter wave. I will talk about that today. Big time item. Also, Verizon is working very closely with the FCC in a request, hoping for approval, to change the way that certain spectrum is broadcasted. They want to make it more powerful, and that can increase the potential of outdoor usage of a normally limited technology. They want to make mid-band great again. But they've got some things they've got to get approved by the FCC in order to do it. So we're going to cover that on today's show, and then we'll wrap things up with some CBRS news, which is actually good. It also involves Verizon, and then we'll kind of wrap things up. We'll put the bow on it talking about Dish Network and Boost Mobile moving into August. So, yeah, that's what we're covering today. Again, a pleasure to have you. Big shout out to the SMT Nation. Let's go ahead and start the show. Yeah, you can see the SMT. I'm in the little box over here. Yeah. All right. Let's see who we got here in the live. I do see Samuel. If you are still here, sir, it's a pleasure to have you. Glad you could stop by. I also see some frequenters, right? Those that are here normally. I see Brennan. I see Jim. I see Lawrence. And I want to give it a big special shout out to Chanel 808 Life Hawaii. Lawrence, a member of the Mod Squad. Thank you for your donation, brother. Appreciate everything you've done for the channel. And I know, we've got something in the works up and coming. We're going to do a live stream together. We're going to try to get your channel some exposure. For those of you that have not done so, go ahead, go into your YouTube search bar, or a moderator, if you could link Chanel 808 Life Hawaii's channel. Go ahead and link that for me, please. Appreciate you. Everybody go ahead and subscribe to his channel. We're going to end up there eventually, collaborating. So go ahead and subscribe. Activate your bell notification icon because we will be collabing together very, very soon. Shout out to Kathy, who is here. Gene as well. I see John, member of the Mod Squad. Good to see you. Glad you're here today. The homie Pete is also here. He'll be moderating. I want to give a big shout out and welcome to Ronaldo, who has been knighted officially today as a member of the Mod Squad. Welcome to you as a moderator, and thank you for holding it down. Jarcoen is here. Sebi, another moderator, hashtag Mod Squad. Big ups to you, sir. Robert, good to see you as well. Crew assembled. Attaboy. Good stuff, good stuff. Jeff from sunny San Diego. Darius, member of the Sneed Army. Absolutely. Welcome to you, sir. The homie Bob is here. He's got his wrench. Don't get out of line. You might get jacked. The homie Jose is in the house. I see you. Josh, Saldana Tech Central. Big shout out to you. Michael, I see you as well. Mikey Tech Review. Good friend. Good to see you. Info Assistance in the house. Mike P is here. Xena, Code, Edmund. I see you guys. Welcome. Knox is here as well. The big homie Tito, also a member of the Mod Squad. Big shout out to you, Tito. I got to catch up on some videos, man. I have not had the chance yet today to watch your video. And actually, I think I may have missed yesterday's video, possibly. So I got to watch those probably sometime after dinner. But I will catch up. Big shout out to Tito over at Aloha Android. If you have not subbed, that is a channel I highly recommend. Alexis, good to see you. It's only 97 in Dallas right now. As if it's like some kind of consolation, right? Yep. All right, look. In the description box, the following links. Let's do this quickly. There's a link to the Patreon page. There is a link to donations, different ways to do that. If you want to donate, you can. There are links in the description box for that. There's a Venmo, there's a Cash App, there's a PayPal. Everybody told me to have all that stuff, so there you go. You want to donate, you could donate. You don't want to donate, you don't have to donate. Appreciate it in advance anyways. Also, we've got the @SneedTech Twitter handle. We also do Periscope Lives on there. It's a lot of fun. Check it out if you want to become parts of those communities. Now, what we're going to cover today and what I want to discuss, I think what we'll do first is, I don't know. I guess it doesn't really matter where we start. Yeah, let's start with the Ericsson software. Okay. All right. So look, standalone 5G is going to be the most important thing to 5G networking. I know we have 5G now. We've got low band 5G from AT&T and T-Mobile. Verizon's given us a nice healthy dose of 39 or so markets that have millimeter wave. So we're starting to taste, this 5G and what it could potentially do in the future. But it's all NSA up to now. It's a form of 5G that runs and operates on an LTE core. So it's not real 5G. Real 5G is coming down the pipeline in the form of what's known as standalone 5G, or SA. I'll call it SA for short because it's easier. So SA. It's going to completely innovate 5G networking. Not the non-standalone stuff, but the standalone stuff. It's going to change everything. Your latencies are going to dip. They're going to get ultra low. I mean, we're talking like sub 3 milliseconds. Really, really, really low pings and latencies. Channel sizes are going to increase. So we're talking, hundreds and hundreds of megahertz of spectrum connecting to devices at any given moment. So as of right now, you might be connected to 20, 30, 40, or 50 megahertz of spectrum. Maybe you're connected to 2 carrier aggregation. Maybe it's 1, maybe it's 3, maybe it's 4, maybe it's 5, whatever. What the next generation standalone 5G is going to do is it's going to really open up the floodgates. You're going to get 7, 8 carrier aggregation, and each carrier is going to have 50 or 100 megahertz of spectrum. It's going to really open things up for speed and ultra fast connectivity. Now, a lot of people say things like, oh, well, how does this help me? My LTE is fast enough. It's not. We still have networks crash all the time. We still have networks that struggle with congestion. We still have ping times in the 40s and 50s and hundreds and thousands sometimes. We still see uplinks that can't crack 1 megabit per second or 5 or 10 megabits per second. That is not fine. For a guy like me who live streams, I need a more reliable uplink. Standalone 5G will give that to me. There are a lot of gamers out there that want to game mobility. What we have right now ain't cutting it for latency. Even a 29 millisecond latency is likely not good enough. We probably need to get it under 10 or 5 milliseconds. Standalone 5G will do this. So that being said, instead of no longer requiring that 4G LTE core to transmit 5G radio technologies, standalone 5G will deploy a completely standalone 5G protocol for all new radio components, all radio transmission and technologies. So that means low band, that means mid-band spectrum, as well as millimeter wave will no longer need to signal support from LTE. The best part here in this announcement from Ericsson, they are the equipment manufacturer that I really like and support for 5G equipment. And it dates back to 2015. Ericsson is really smart. In 2015, they started manufacturing hardware that was going to be future-proof and be software upgradable for standalone 5G. Perfect. That means every tower that Verizon, Sprint, T-Mobile, and AT&T has deployed with Ericsson technology since 2015 has the ability to be upgraded to standalone 5G once the networks are ready. So, augmented reality, virtual reality, smart cars, smart factories, smart agriculture, farming, all these different 5G applications that are now going to be possible with 5G will be able to start to be upgraded to standalone 5G as early as this year. More likely, we're going to see AT&T lead the way early on. We'll see 5G kind of next up, and then we'll see T-Mobile lagging behind and doing it third. I'm going to throw Dish in there because Dish is currently in the process of establishing and building their standalone 5G network, putting all that infrastructure together. Anyways, you hear me mentioning Ericsson. Ericsson has successfully completed end-to-end solutions as their company positions itself as a hardware and software leader in 5G mobility. They're going to lead in DSS, which is dynamic spectrum sharing. They're going to lead in software operations for standalone services. Any elements of networking through 5G, I love what Ericsson is doing. Nokia is an important name to know. Samsung is an important name to know, but I'm telling you guys, I really like what Ericsson is doing. They've given companies like Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile the option to go completely end-to-end software hardware through Ericsson. A full networking portfolio solution. They've completed tons of testing, a lot of field work. It's pretty much solid and in place for most of the carriers, even now as of July of 2020. Now, I will say that because they've already implemented all their technology from 2015 as being future upgradable to standalone, that's probably the reason why T-Mobile's not in a rush. T-Mobile's not in a rush to go standalone just yet. They're going to be last probably, right? They usually are last to most technologies. They'll eventually get to standalone, but they're going to focus the next couple of years to non-standalone, which is fine. AT&T is a trailblazer when it comes to network tech, as is Verizon. But we do hope to see T-Mobile get on board very soon. T-Mobile's in no rush for standalone. Their non-standalone solution, N41, the 2.5 gigahertz, will be future upgradable to standalone within a couple of years, so no issues there. AT&T likely first. Verizon will be right behind them. But I'm telling you guys, watch Ericsson, watch the technology. Of course, I will keep you updated as things change, but Ericsson has the solutions. They've got the standalone game sewed up. It's going to be all Ericsson all the way with standalone. Now, like I said, Nokia, Samsung put their names in the hat, but I think Ericsson is the way to go for now. All right, let's transition to the next bit of news. Verizon. For those of you that don't know what's going on with certain operations when it comes to like towers and building out a network and stuff like that, it's complicated, right? There's a lot of stuff that goes into it. You have to make sure, no matter what you do on a tower site, you could put all the antennas up, all the radios, all the transmitters, all the cables, You could take all of that. You could have all the spectrum. But if you don't have good backhaul, you do not have a good, solid data network. So what carriers like Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile, what they have to do is they rely heavily upon backhaul to do the heavy lifting when it comes to connecting to the internet. So if a carrier has a solid fiber backhaul, their network will operate very, very well. T-Mobile's network is usually very strong where they have good backhaul. Part of the reason why AT&T rocked this Ookla speed test report from this last half was because they own a lot of their own fiber, deploy a lot of their own fiber, and they have great fiber installs. A lot of it. So why am I bringing up Verizon right now? Why is this a thing that I'm making a big stink about on this podcast? Verizon has a solution to provide really, really good backhaul in situations where they don't actually have fiber. I covered a video on this earlier this week, but I want to take this next level. So in some situations, it can be very difficult to have a good backhaul solution. What I'm saying is, you consider geology, like the earth makeup of a place. Most fiber installs are below ground. So it has to be very intrusive. There's digging, there's installations. Geography matters. Is it an island? Is it, a state in the middle of the country? Are there mountains? There's all these different types of things like topography, lakes, rivers, streams. All that stuff matters. How is the red tape in the county, in the state, in the city, right? Do they allow you to install, a lot of fiber and stuff like that? Do companies already have pre-existing fiber there? Can you make deals with them on using their fiber for backhaul? A lot of stuff goes into this solution. Anyways, Verizon, again, working very closely with Ericsson, have a proof of concept in which they are going to establish IAB, Integrated Access Backhaul, providing an internet pipeline to drive the LTE and 5G future of the network in places that don't have adequate fiber backhaul. So view this as kind of like a temporary solution. Verizon's going to use their millimeter wave holdings, where they operate and own these licenses, to establish an IAB for connecting towers to devices like your smartphones, like your hotspots and your laptops. But they're also going to use this IAB through millimeter wave to connect tower to tower. So if a certain tower has really old or poor performing backhaul, maybe the millimeter wave is a better option. And remember, They only need line of sight. And they can also use beamforming and other repeater technologies to extend beyond 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 10,000 feet. This is a great option for them to either buy themselves some time to install fiber later or use it as a long-term solution. Now think about it. Verizon owns over 2,000 megahertz of millimeter wave spectrum. They're not going to utilize all that for device-to-device connection. They can use it for their backhaul. And I think Alexis brings up a good point. How about Starlink for backhaul? Absolutely. But I think there are some limitations there. I don't know how the licensing for that works. I don't know. We'll see. But it's absolutely an option. I love that idea. So yes, this is a great option for Verizon to take their tens of billions of dollars they've got invested in millimeter wave and not just utilize it for devices directly, but indirectly power the network through IAB as backhaul for running tower sites. Brilliant. So Ericsson has this technology. Ericsson is leading the way in software. Ericsson is also leading the way in DSS, dynamic spectrum sharing, which is great. Companies will not have to decommission, shut down 3G, 4G connections, right? They don't have to shut them down. They can interoperate between 5G usage and 4G usage. They don't have to shut down spectrum in the transition to 5G. I don't know if you guys are watching, but Ericsson is killing it. Verizon loves Ericsson. T-Mobile loves Ericsson. AT&T absolutely adores Ericsson. They are leading the way. Ericsson is going to be a huge piece of the future in networking. Big shout out to Vlad. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Very cute picture of the family. Thanks, bro. What I will say, and I know this has sounded like this huge Ericsson thing, you know, or I'm just like gushing over Ericsson. They're going to lead the way. They're going to really enable a lot of the carriers to do some big things in 5G in the near term and the long term. And it sounds like I'm gushing over Verizon. It's because this is great technology that is going to help the marketplace. Verizon's not the only company that's going to be utilizing this technology. They are just in the process of research, development, field testing, and utilization. That's where I'm at. Thank you for the super chat, Vlad. Appreciate you. All right, let's transition to the next bit of news, shall we? Okay, we're about, how far are we in? We're about 25 minutes in. My goal is to be on for 30 minutes. It looks like we're going to go a little bit over, but no problem. I've got a great topic. This one also out of Verizon, but like I said, this is going to also contribute to some help for other congested carriers. It kind of depends on the market. I'll explain how this works. So I'll just use Verizon as the example. All right, so CBRS is starting to really catch a little bit of traction. The wheels were spinning, and now it's starting to catch. CBRS is a 3.5 gigahertz spectrum asset that is finally starting to hit some strides. For now, the licenses are PAL, Priority Access Licenses, as auction, the up-and-coming auction, which is very soon. I think it's this month. The auctions are not slated for bidding until later this month. I think July 23rd, if I remember correctly. Big shout out to Gene. Thank you for the super chat. No comment or anything, but you know we appreciate that. Thank you for the super chat. Big shout out to Gene's channel as well. He just started his own YouTube channel. Good stuff. I watched this first episode. It was great. I highly recommend if any of the moderators could get Gene's channel. Let's get a link in there. Let's promote him a little bit. Anyways, this CBRS spectrum. Verizon is starting to use it more and more. We're seeing it in more markets. Now, the 3.5 gigahertz spectrum is being utilized under GAA, General Authorized Access Permissions. So that means it's available to wireless providers like Verizon or AT&T or T-Mobile or Sprint. It's available to home internet service providers like Cox or Charter or Spectrum or CenturyLink or Altice. They can all use this stuff. It's available to the public. It can be used for private enterprise. It could be used in public as well. Anyways, pre-pandemic, Root Metrics was actually able to identify 10 out of 55 tested markets as Verizon using CBRS band 48. So, pre-pandemic, 10 of the 55 markets that they tested had band 48. Post-Memorial Day, which would just be like a few months later, right, a couple months, they're seeing that the number of markets in those same markets has increased to 17. That means that Verizon has added 6 new markets to receive band 48 upgrades. I can tell you guys right now, in the Cleveland area, I have only seen one site with band 48. Only one site with CBRS spectrum. And it's very interesting the way they have it set up. And I'll explain that a little bit later here in a second. So why is it important? Why am I making a big stink about CBRS? I actually did a video about CBRS. You guys can actually search in YouTube CBRS band 48. I also did one for band 46. These are very I'd say underutilized assets that carriers can do more with. I think carriers are a little hesitant to use them because of their unlicensed nature and their public access nature. But it is important that I think they use this in the near future. And it actually does matter in my opinion, because it can offer some really, really nice capacity boost. It can really provide an improved density footprint to their networks. Band 48 is a really nice mid-band asset. It's not perfect, but it's a nice little boost. It does require some newer devices. If you're going to connect to band 48, or band 46 for that matter, you're going to need a 2019 smartphone or newer. Some 2019 smartphones have it. I know the Google Pixel devices from 2018 have it. Possibly the iPhones from 2018. I think they do. I know that the Galaxy devices do, like the Note of the year and then the S9 and then the S10. They definitely have it. So don't quote me on that, but pretty much a 2018 or a 2019 phone probably has band 46 and band 48. Verizon really needs the help here. It really does. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like Verizon doesn't have congestion issues in some markets. Verizon's network is actually pretty heavily managed. It has to be. In order to keep a relatively enjoyable network experience for all their customers, Verizon has had to actively manage their network to keep things from getting too slow. So they need some help. And the network congestion is real. And if we learned anything from the Ookla speed test report, it looks like some areas are worse than others. I can tell you guys right now, I've seen some congestion issues in the Cleveland area. Not bad. Not really noticeable unless you're testing for it. There have been some community members, some SMT Nation members, who have told me that in their market, Verizon is congested and relatively slow, especially during certain times of the day. Peak usage, things of that nature. There's also some Patreon members. They've mentioned this to me. And I think based on the Ookla report, it all kind of lines up together. The spectrum position of Verizon is the least attractive of all carriers. They have 115 megahertz of sub-6 gigahertz spectrum. AT&T has about 175. T-Mobile has well over 310. Therefore, band 48 and 46 for that matter, while they are low power and they do have a limited range of utilization, it's a nice boost to the network. When and where they are deployed, it's a little bit of help that goes a long way. Now, you do have to make sure that you do have a phone that has the compatibility, that has the actual band, right, that it supports band 48. But take band 48 and band 46 together, and you start deploying it in parts of cities where you're suffering the congestion. So you got band 48, which is CBRS, band 46, which is also, this low power, limited range, boost aspect to the network. LAA spectrum, that's a 5 gigahertz holding. That's licensed assisted access. And I think what I'll do is I'll probably put like a card somewhere here or maybe at the end so I can get you guys linked to the videos where I covered these technologies. They can help. And actually, I would want to know from you guys, and you guys can just tell me there in the live chat, have you ever connected to band 48, 3.5 gigahertz spectrum with Verizon or any other carrier for that matter? If so, if you have connected to it, how did it perform? Because here's my experience with band 48. When I connected to band 48, it was really random. I was like sitting at a red light. I parked to go to this Rite Aid, and I was able to get 300 plus megabits per second on my Verizon line. What's interesting is as I drove away, I lost the connectivity really quick. So I knew there was, whatever the connection was that was giving me the speed was really limited in range. It was, and then I pulled out Cell Mapper and I started looking at the app, and I saw that it was aggregating with a low band connection. I think it was band 5. It might have been band 13. It was one or the other. But I located the small cell. It was right there on a light pole in the intersection. So I looked at Cell Mapper. I saw that it was band 48. It was carrier aggregating with a low band spectrum, and it was getting like 300 plus megabits per second, even when I isolated the band. It was a really fast connection. Clearly, that location was either a dead spot for connection or it was just slow and congested. That's how Verizon chose to address the issue with the network there. On that intersection, there's a car dealership, one of the biggest Ford dealerships in Ohio. There's a car rental store. Lots of small mom and pop shops. There's like a tanning salon, a barber shop, a hair salon. There's a pizza shop, a Rite Aid, a Shell gas station. There's like a performing arts studio. There's a bunch of homes. All of that within this like area right on each side of the intersection. There's a church. There's a school. It made sense that they actually fitted that site, that little small cell, with 3.5 gigahertz CBRS. It made total sense. Trying to boost the network a little bit to deal with the congestion. So I think of situations like that. I think of situations where they hold concerts. Situations where there's like, once this whole pandemic thing, we clear it, right? And people start congregating again, these big groups. I feel like these are things that could really help. Especially schools. Especially, even churches, bro. Like, people are live streaming church services. You've got all these different events that could take place. Universities. I could see this being a big time boost. Even though it has limitations, it could help. And it looks like Verizon is kicking it up a notch with band 48. And they'll continue to do so in the future. All right, so you thought I was done. Well, I'm not. One more story to cover. I would like to talk about the Ookla report, speedtest.net. I'll just touch on it quickly because I covered that video. Again, I'll put like a card for it somewhere around. You guys can watch it. It's a video from this morning. For those of you that watched it, you kind of saw like all the stuff that was kind of concluded. Anyways, Ookla, for those of you that don't know, you can go to download the app onto your device. You can go to the App Store if you have an iPhone. You could go to the Google Play Store if you have an Android. And you could download Ookla Speed Test. So because they're using the general public to collect the data, it's considered a crowdsourced collection company that analyzes, compiles data from millions of devices that are running on commercial networks. So the data is considered half 1 2020, so the months of January through June. And here's what they found. They found AT&T to be the fastest national provider in the United States of America when it comes to median download speed. AT&T came in at number 1. T-Mobile came in at number 2. Sprint came in at number 3. And Verizon came in at number 4. I don't know. I don't know. The AT&T part makes sense. Everywhere I go, every time I test AT&T, it is really fast. I'm not surprised that they took the cake at number 1. T-Mobile coming in at number 2 was a bit surprising because of the network integrations that have been going on in the back half of half 1. So like from April on, the network has been having issues, to say the least. So while they did come in at number 2, I'm a bit surprised that they did. Sprint being faster than Verizon makes no sense to me. There are so many areas where Sprint's network is lacking in so many ways. I was totally caught off guard by this. Seriously. Because when I use Verizon, it's not the fastest network. I didn't expect it to be number 1, but I did not expect it to be behind Sprint. That just completely caught me off guard. 100%. So I'm not surprised that T-Mobile came in second. I am surprised that Sprint came in third. And I'm very surprised that Verizon came in last. Even though their spectrum position is weak, their tower density is second to none. So there's a couple different ways you can deal with network traffic and congestion. You can add more spectrum, which increases channel sizes, right? Wider channels, you can have more bandwidth. Or you can increase tower density, have more tower sites to disperse all the devices connected on a network. So like you can have a tower with 1,000 phones on it if you have a lot of spectrum. But if you don't have a lot of spectrum, the key would be to have multiple towers in the area. So there's a couple different ways you can kind of address network congestion. Because Verizon doesn't have spectrum, they increase tower density, a lot of small cells, millimeter wave, and all those good things. Okay? One of the elements of the testing protocol that they mentioned were devices that are on modern chipsets, and they also talked about competitive geographies. Modern chipsets means the newer the phone, the faster it could be. AT&T users typically have newer phones. AT&T really pushes device sales. So a lot of people probably have S20s, S10s, Note 10s, newer iPhones, right? AT&T really pushes the issue. So I feel like the spectrum position, the tower density, the newer hardware, the tower upgrades, all these factors really helped AT&T lead the way. No surprises there. Let's talk about latency. The lower the number, the better. All right? It's a measure of reaction time of a connection. So T-Mobile came in at 31 milliseconds, Verizon at 33, AT&T at 35. That range is not really a big deal. They're each separated by about 2 milliseconds. That's really a small variance. Sprint came in at 39, which is really not that different than 31. I mean, it's like a percentage or whatever, right? It's like 30%, slower or whatever, but I don't know. Take it how you want it. That's up to you. I want to take a look at consistency score. This one surprised me, guys and gals, I should say. AT&T had a consistency score of 79.7. I'm with that. AT&T's network is very consistent in my experience. T-Mobile came in at number 2 with 79.2. Within a 0.5% rating of consistency. And then way back at 73.8 was Verizon. I gotta call BS there. There is no way AT&T and then T-Mobile when it comes to consistency rating. Okay, fine. AT&T is very consistent. I actually believe that. They have their tower density is really starting to increase. Their network is getting really impressive. I'm not going to question that. I'm going to question the T-Mobile rating though. T-Mobile does not have a more reliable network than Verizon. That is not true. Verizon has a larger 4G LTE footprint. Verizon has more tower density. Verizon has better network configurations. Verizon has a better network. I mean, you can argue that T-Mobile has great network potential. I'll give you that. But as of right now, there is no way Verizon has less consistency than T-Mobile. No way. And I'm not trying to poo-poo T-Mobile or speedtest.net. But there is something wrong about that testing protocol. Sprint came in at 66.1. That's pretty low. They measured consistency as getting 5 megabits per second on the downlink, 1 megabit per second on the uplink. There is no way Verizon only got 5 megabits downlink, 1 megabit per second uplink, only 73.8% of the time. I never get a test lower than 5 by 1. Never. And I've had Verizon for 20 years. That is absurd. I have no idea what happened. If their data is accurate, something happened in the collection. There's just and I don't have the data. I didn't witness the data collection. So I can't speak to what happened. That's one thing that just doesn't make sense. If you look back at previous reports, this would essentially be saying that Verizon has stepped back in their network, which is completely false. Verizon is one of the biggest spenders on their network annually. They spend $18 billion annually. T-Mobile spends $5.5 billion. There's no way. It's bad math. It's bad math. I don't know what happened with that test there. 4G availability, Sprint was number 1 with 99% 4G availability. This test is wrong. Sprint does not have 99% LTE availability anywhere. No way. There are still times where I'm driving in Cleveland, which is a fully developed wireless market. A city where I don't get any 3G on Verizon or any 3G on AT&T. Or even for T-Mobile for that matter. Just at home I see HSPA and 3G and all types of weird crap on the T-Mobile network. Network integrations. I don't know what's going on. Anyways, they said Sprint has 99% 4G availability. That is ridiculous. That is not true. Anyways, all carriers were over 97.5%. So T-Mobile 97.5, AT&T 97.8, Verizon 99, and Sprint 99. I don't know where they came up with that Sprint 99. I have no clue. So I question the consistency ratings, and I question 4G availability. What is that? The 5G performance metrics, a little bit skewed. Verizon is only doing millimeter wave right now for 5G, so they came in at 870 megabits per second. It's fine. That's what we would expect. AT&T at 78.68, Sprint 64.82, T-Mobile 64.26. T-Mobile uses low-band 5G. I get why it's low. Not a big deal. Sprint at 64.82 is nonsense. It should not be that low. I would also question speedtest.net on that number because Sprint was utilizing 40 to 60 megahertz of band 41 for 5G. I used to see screenshots, people showing me 350 to 600 megabits per second when they're connected to Sprint 5G. That number, 64.82 megabits, is surprising to me. How could it be so low? That's really weird. I question it. Other metrics, they had some device breakdowns of like which devices were the fastest. Which manufacturers had the fastest devices. They also had regional breakdowns of speeds. So like you could go to like Ohio, you could go to New Hampshire, Florida, and you could see what their average median download speeds and upload speeds were and stuff like that. And then you could actually look it up by cities as well. Which, if you look up regional speeds and city speeds, it gives you insight on locations. So if you're like moving somewhere new, like in the case of the homie Scoop, he just moved from like the Pacific Northwest down to the desert of Las Vegas. If he was transitioning and moving, Would he want to keep his carrier? Does he want to consider a new carrier? He could look at those reports and say, okay, well, I used to live here. Now I live here. Let me look to see what Ookla report analysis gives us, and they can kind of guide you in a direction that might help you. I would encourage you to take this report with a grain of salt. I think there are some serious flaws in the data. There's certain things in the data that don't make sense. I'm not trying to nitpick Ookla. I'm not trying to question their credibility, but there's just things in there that, based on track record, based on precedents, based on last year's reports, it just doesn't add up. It doesn't jive. So I'm going to want to see root metrics. I'm going to want to also see open signal, and I want to see if their data suggests the same things. I want to start corroborating the data. So that's how I see it. I was really surprised by some of those things. The consistency ratings, like I said, the 4G availability, just some of that was kind of sketchy. Hey, but that's just my take. Anyways, if you guys appreciated all the material, the insight, the commentary from the SMT, do me a solid. Hit that like button now. Do me that solid. Just go ahead and hit the like button. Thank you. Last little bit of news. Kathy, appreciate the reminder. It looks like August is going to be a big month for Dish as the new owner-operator of Boost Mobile. I have a feeling that while they are going to be pushing their 2 limited data plans, I think we are going to be seeing a revamped version of an unlimited plan. I don't know if they're getting rid of one and adding a new one, or if they're getting rid of one of the 2 and then focusing on the other one. I don't know if they're going to be doing an additional shrinkage option on one of these unlimited plans. I just think in August, you're going to see a big push from Boost Mobile to make a big impact in prepaid. They're competing with Cricket. They're competing with Visible. They're competing with Metro by T-Mobile. And they're a new company to wireless. So they're going to want to compete and make money. They're focusing on bring your own device, BYOD, which means they're not going to really be focusing on getting people to port in from another carrier via buying a device or getting the device for free or on a deal. They're going to want to get people to come in that are interested about buying their service. So they're going to focus on a couple of key plans, the Shrink It initiative. Expect a big August from Boost. I'm going to predict something additional in the shrinkage department. Maybe add another plan to the Shrink It. 3 consecutive pays, you get yourself a $5 discount. 6 on-time pays, get yourself another $5, so like a $10 discount. I think they're going to do that for another unlimited plan. I think they'll continue to add some value to their unlimited plans, stuff like that. I think a lot of stuff is still going to carry over, but there's going to be something they're going to focus on in August. We'll see what it is. I just think there's going to be something there, because Metro by T-Mobile is also going to be doing the same thing. They're going to have a big August promotional month too. I don't know if their focus is going to be devices or services or switchers or whatever else, but I think something's coming. Just my 2 cents, just my prediction. And then you could expect like Cricket to kind of come through as well. You know, Kathy, I don't know if it'll be groundbreaking. I just think it'll be attractive. I think they're going to want to focus on retention. They don't want people to leave. They want to keep the customers they have long term, and they want to get people switching interested in their service, not interested in switching for a phone. They want them switching because they like the wireless plan or a bundle and deal that they're getting, right? So that's what I think is going to be happening. Anyways, if you appreciated this video, found it informative, and enjoyed the commentary, do hit the like button, please. That helps the channel out tremendously. If this is your first time here, or you have been lurking and you have not subscribed, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and activate the bell notification icon if you want to be notified when we do our live podcasts or we upload videos and content. Also, select all when you hit that bell, so that way if I do a poll or I tweet out some community stuff, you guys have access to all of that. Also, check out the links in the description box. Again, there are donation ways, right? You can donate. If you want to donate, there's ways you could do that. We've got the Patreon page link. We've got the @SneedTech Twitter handle. Let's see what else we got going on. I think that's pretty much it. I really just wanted to be on here for like 30 or 40 minutes. Looks like we went into 50 minutes, but that's it. I want to do a couple of things real quick, though. That we always have fun at the end of the podcast, right? I want to thank everybody, as always, for coming through. Big hashtag, the 2 Live crew, everybody that watched us in the live. Thank you guys for being a part of the community and supporting me here. All right. I also want to thank the replay crew, those of you watching this at a later time. Big shout out to the replay crew. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. If you're watching this hungry or while you were eating, big shout out to the Ravioli Gang, hashtag Ravioli Gang, and hashtag Mod Squad. All the names in the live chat with the big blue wrenches holding it down, keeping things kosher and clean for me. Appreciate you guys very, very much. Make sure you are subscribed and you activate that bell notification icon so you never miss any of the action on the SMT YouTube channel. Here's the Patreon page reminder if you guys want to check that out. A growing community of like-minded tech enthusiasts. Big shout out to them. And that pretty much wraps this one up. You guys are the best. Thank you for supporting the SMT. You guys are great. Hopefully we catch you guys real soon. We might be doing a podcast tomorrow. We'll see what happens. We do have the first Patreon exclusive live stream this Sunday. So join us there, become a member, and support us and be a part of the Patreon page. Anyways, hopefully we see you on the next show. That's it for this one. I am the SMT, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace! Yeah!